By 10 in the morning, the backyard already smelled like lemon and charcoal. I had arrived early, the way I always did, because arriving early meant you could fix things before anyone noticed they were wrong. I washed lettuce in a sink that sticks if you don't lift the handle just right. I chopped onions outside so my stepmom wouldn't complain about the smell. I hid the plastic eggs in places that were clever but not cruel. I taped the little paper signs to the fence posts so the younger kids wouldn't wander into the neighbors' roses. No one asked me to do any of it. That was the arrangement. I did, and they accepted. The caterers came at 11:30. I signed where they pointed, joked about the weather, handed over a card for incidentals because it was easier than reminding my dad that his had expired last year. The manager recognized me from last Easter. "Same number?" she asked. I nodded. "Same number, same sides, same assumptions." By noon the yard was full of that low holiday noise, coolers opening, chairs scraping. My brother laughing too loud at something on his phone. My dad hovered near the grill, not cooking yet, just guarding the idea of it. When he saw me carrying trays from the kitchen, he said, "Careful with that." Like I hadn't been careful my entire life. I didn't mind. I told myself I didn't. There is a comfort in competence. There is also a trap. Right before dinner, when the plates were lined up and the kids were corralled and the caterers were checking temperatures, my dad cleared his throat. He didn't pull me aside. He didn't lower his voice. He didn't say my name. He said to the yard at large, "Let's remember today that some people are guests now. Guests don't make decisions. Don't overstep." It took a second to realize he meant me. The sentence was shaped like advice but pointed like a finger. My stepmom nodded. Not dramatically. Just once, like she was agreeing with the weather report. My brother looked at his shoes and then at his phone, like the ground had suddenly become interesting. There was a pause where someone could have laughed it off. No one did. The caterers froze in that professional way where they pretend they didn't hear anything, but also stop moving. I felt a strange clarity settle in, like when a room goes quiet and you notice the hum of the fridge. I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't angry. I was suddenly unmistakably informed. I set the serving spoon down. I didn't say anything because there was nothing to clarify. He had clarified it for me. Inside the house, the air was cooler. My bag was where I'd left it, by the hall table with the chipped corner. I sat on the bench and took my phone out. There was a moment brief, almost funny, where I thought of going back out and asking if he wanted to rephrase. The moment passed. I opened my banking app first, then email, then messages. Each action felt oddly polite. "Hi, I need to cancel today's catering effective immediately. Yes, I understand the policy. Please proceed." The reply came faster than I expected. The manager called instead. "Is everything okay?" she asked, her voice carefully neutral. "Yes," I said. Plans changed. There was a pause where she weighed the tone. "All right, I'll need to confirm with the venue." "That's fine." I hung up and texted the sitter I'd booked for the evening to let her know she wasn't needed. I transferred the grocery reimbursement back to myself. I emailed the rental company about the extra tables. I didn't add explanations. I didn't apologize. I didn't threaten. When I walked back outside, the manager was speaking quietly to my dad near the side gate. She had that posture people use when delivering information that isn't negotiable. He gestured once, sharp and dismissive, and she shook her head. "What do you mean canceled?" He said louder than necessary. She kept her voice level. "The account holder withdrew authorization." "I didn't." He stopped, looked at me. For the first time all day, really looked. My stepmom's nod faltered. My brother put his phone away. There was a ripple of confusion, then the practical panic of people who had planned to be fed without planning how. Someone asked about the ham. Someone else said the kids were hungry. The grill still wasn't lit. "I'm just a guest," I said, not to be cruel, not even to be heard. It came out flat like a label. Guests don't make decisions. The words didn't land like a comeback. They landed like a receipt. I picked up my bag. No one blocked the path. No one followed me to the door. Authority had already arrived and done its quiet work. There was nothing left to argue. Driving away, I expected a surge of something: relief, triumph, grief. What I felt was steadiness. The road was clear. The radio was off. My hands didn't shake. That evening my phone buzzed with messages that pretended not to be about what they were about. "We didn't mean it like that. You could have talked to us. This got out of hand." I read them without replying. There would be time later or there wouldn't. Both were acceptable. In the days that followed, the story was retold without me. I heard versions through cousins and aunts, softened and sharpened, depending on the teller. I didn't correct them. I didn't need to. What changed was smaller and more permanent. Holidays were planned with fewer assumptions. Bills were split aloud. Tasks were assigned instead of absorbed. When my dad spoke, he watched faces more carefully. When my stepmom nodded, it came with words. I was still invited. I was still a guest. But I stopped acting like a foundation that didn't need acknowledgement to hold weight. I learned the difference between helping and holding something up so no one else has to notice it's heavy. There was no apology that fixed everything. There was no scene where we all cried and reset. There was instead a quieter accounting, a recalibration. Dignity didn't arrive as forgiveness or distance. It arrived as alignment. I stood where I was placed and made sure I paid only for the space my feet actually occupied. The rest I let fall on its own.